Have you ever wondered, once you're browsing on your Instagram and you're following your favorite illustration artists, how they're able to actually post their illustrations or new uploads? Sometimes they do it every month, sometimes they do it every week, every couple days even, and some artists are even doing 100-day or 30-day challenges, so they're posting daily. And the question is, how are they able to do it? Where do they find the time? Where do they find the creativity? And how do they actually get, the most important question is, how do they actually get into this routine of constantly outputting new work? Well, if you ever found yourself a little bit stuck in that matter, I'm going to share with you my personal top 5 tips on how to actually establish or try to establish an art routine so that you can exercise your illustrations a little bit more and quite possibly post a little bit more work as well, whether it's on your Instagram or any other social media. My name's Leo and you're watching Ghost Papers, so now let's get to it. Alright guys, so let's get started. So top of the list, item number 1 is do your best work before everything else. So what does this actually mean? Well, it means that, throughout our day, we all have our routines in our daily lives themselves. So for example, in my personal life, I wake up in the morning, I try to wake up around 7 a.m. I, prepare breakfast for the family. I kind of, get the day started. And then I have a little bit of time to, catch up on my emails and conversations. And this is the trickiest part because I think, speaking personally, I think that I'm just, I kind of chase the phone and I want to see the updates. I want to see like what has happened in the news, updates on my email, notifications, comments on YouTube, comments on Instagram. But in fact, this is the most curious thing. I actually should swap that. And that's what I've been doing for the last while. And I've swapped not checking these statistics or informations or messages and actually thinking about my next illustration. So using the time of the morning is the time that, after you have your first meal, after you have your breakfast, and you sit down and you do work, that is one of the most productive times from our brains. It's one of the times that we're mostly active. And some say that the afternoons are also some of the most active times. People actually recommend that you go to the gym in the afternoon. I'm not really sure about that, but I do know that in the morning time, the very first few hours of the day is the time that you should actually try to put down some work. Even, and I'm not saying here, and even on my personal journey here, I don't actually start and finish an illustration in the morning itself, but just doing the most crucial things. So for example, having the idea for the next illustration. I get down into those 2 hours and I come up with the concept or the references and everything else so that by the next day, I can use those first 2 hours to research what is the art style. How am I going to do this? What's the canvas size? And then I keep moving like, chapters on a mini series until that illustration is completed. The really challenge that I used to have really is that I used to check on my email and my messages and everything in the morning. Then I have to get to work. I have to do my daily work so that by the evening time, that's when I actually had a little bit of time to actually sit down and do some stuff. And by that time, it's kind of like winding down time, at least for me. So although I love to draw in the evening time because it's very calm, there's less noise outside, it definitely is not, at least for me, the most productive time, the time that I actually could be fired up and thinking about new ideas. All right, item number 2, this is a funny one and it's kind of weird, but it actually really works, at least for me, is to establish same triggers in order to get through these creative bursts. So what do I mean about that? Let's just say that you sit down the very first couple hours of the day, and as I was just saying on item number 1, getting the best stuff out of the way in the first time of the day, let's just say that this is the time that you get down and you start thinking about your next illustration. What I do, I actually put music that I'm constantly listening to. It's usually like instrumental, kind of like instrumental electronic music, but just the fact that they don't have lyrics already helps me because I'm not really paying attention to the lyrics. It's mostly instrumental and it's got some kind of a pace. It's not too fast and it's not too slow. And it just helps me to get into that creative mood. And those triggers, it could be music, it could be colors, it could be like a certain way that you set up your room. I don't really do a lot of that setup in my room, for example, but that's also part of the list here. But really, music, I use it as one of those triggers to actually establish the routine. So establishing that this is the creative time. So you're listening to these songs, now is the time that you actually should be thinking about ideas for illustration. And I'm basically setting myself for the routine where I know that is the illustration time. Let me know in the comment section down below if you have any of these triggers, if you like to, set your pencils on the table, if you open your notepad and you kind of have like always a blank page where you're about to start. If you have any of these triggers, if you also listen to music, let me know in the comment section down below. All right, item number 3, it's also kind of weird, but it does really work for me at least. And that is, there's a lot of people out there who can actually sit down and do whatever work they need to do from, let's just say, 8 hours straight. I am certainly not one of those. Like, I actually do my work, what I call is working in bursts. So what I try to do is, like, say for every hour, I take about 45 minutes of just really focusing on whatever I'm trying to do. In the last 10 to 15 minutes, it's a time that I like to, I don't know, maybe I stretch a little bit, maybe I get up, maybe I get a glass of water, or I, make a cup of tea. And that little break time, it's time that it's not that I'm completely disconnecting myself from the task. I'm actually thinking about the last 45 minutes. So in the last 45 minutes, do I think that I moved the right way? Did I move the right way, or did I steer away from where I wanted to go? Should I be trying something else? Should I be thinking about something else as well as I go? What's my gut saying about the last hour or the last 45 minutes that I've worked on this piece? And I find that is actually very, very helpful to take away some pauses, because I think it's very common for us to like just getting into a groove, and certainly like sounds like a routine, but actually it's when you keep seeing the one thing over and over and over that you kind of lose the details that make that piece of work stand out. It could be that you're adding too many colors and all of a sudden there's not a powerful color combination happening anymore. It could be that you're filling up with too many elements and now it's a busy composition, whereas before you actually had something powerful in the previous hour. So kind of stepping out a bit and taking a look at what you're doing can definitely help you out. At least helps me a lot to take these short breaks. Now, item number 4 is basically a continuation of number 3. As I was just saying about taking small breaks, it's actually, again, using this frequency of stepping in, working for 45 minutes and taking this break. But don't think about this break as just time that you're not thinking at all about it. It's the time that you review your work. So work, review, and work in this rhythm of working and reviewing until you're actually ready to maybe share with a loved one or a friend or a coworker to see what's their opinion as well, and always be looking out for constructive criticism. It's very hard when you hear something like I don't like it and people don't really give a reason. So when you say like I think you should try to use different colors, or I think this composition is this or that, those are better things to say than when somebody says like, oh, I think it's cool, or I don't like it, but they don't really say why they like it or not. But really the main point here for number 4 is to work in rhythm of being in the focused and then reviewing your work. Now, item number 5, and this might be sounding like a super weird list, but these are really things that really work for me. And I really think I should be sharing with you guys, like after all this journey of making videos and tutorials. But really, item number 5 is, I know that a lot of people don't mind having company and like just being next to others while they're working, doing illustrations. I'm actually quite the opposite. I actually like to get lonely, and when I'm doing stuff, actually to be by myself illustrating. And the reason for that is actually not because I don't want to be distracted It's not because I don't want to hear people talking or something like that. It's really because by being by myself, I can watch myself doing some other patterns and routines. For example, steering away and looking at my phone or looking at social media. And I can look at my own distractions, and I can look at the way that I'm trying to do things, that I'm trying to solve problems, because I'm spending all that time by myself. And, I totally get it. If you don't really have that option, you might be living in a certain condition that actually doesn't allow you to be completely by yourself. And I fully get that. I'm just saying that personally, being by myself and trying to catch, trying to analyze even how I am doing things. If I am actually saving my references, or if I'm just like looking at them once and then never looking back, if I am spending too many precious times and precious strokes on the rough sketch when I'm actually haven't even moved on to colors and composition and all that stuff. So really, it's a great way to self-analyze your own patterns and try to come up with a more productive work lifestyle. And now for a bonus one, I know I said 5, but I'm actually going to give you a number 6 here, is one that's called show up. Showing up and doing anything that needs to be done is more important than not showing up at all. So let's dive in a little bit about this one. So what I mean is, like, showing up, it doesn't mean that like I'm saying show up and make an illustration every day. Show up, and even if you don't feel inspired, even if you don't feel like I don't want to draw anything, and there's definitely days that I feel like this, and many days, just showing up and trying to research a new tool, just showing up and opening the drawing app that you actually open that's your favorite. It could be Procreate, Affinity, it could be anything, but just opening that software, that app, and trying a new brush. It could be like trying a new tool, haven't tried just yet. It might give you ideas for your next illustration and you don't even know it. So even just showing up and studying before illustrating, it's better than not showing up at all. So that's it for this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, a like would be super appreciated, as well as make sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell notification icon so you don't miss any of these new uploads. Now on the right side of the screen, there's more content for you guys to watch. One is my latest upload, and the other one is a video that YouTube is actually recommending you to watch in order to expand your skills. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.